Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our 25th Annual Hall of Fame. And by the way, if you didn't figure it out, 450 people is the biggest banquet we've ever had. So give yourself a hand. And quite honestly, everybody said, well, the more people you bring, the more people that show up. No, that's not true. The truth is the quality of people that we bring on. Yeah, the quality brings the people that say, we appreciate what you did through your life through wrestling. So thank you people for being here. We appreciate it very much. In these 25 years, we've inducted over 274 individuals, 221 lifetime, and 3 Lindike Legacy Award winners. And we're still not done. We have a lot in the pipeline, a lot of young men, young ladies in the pipeline that we want to recognize who are continuing this legacy of California wrestling. Because in California, we're the best in the United States, no doubt about it. So, 25 years ago, our first inductee was Mr. Dave Schultz, rightfully so. Yeah, Dave was a great person and a great ambassador for wrestling, not just for California, but for the United States. But those 25 years started way back 26 years ago at a meeting in Monterey. And there's 4 young men that have been to every banquet for the past 25 years. And they provided the legacy, the time, the effort of making sure that we carry forward this California wrestling legacy. And I'd really like them to stand and give them applause. So first person I'd like to stand is Cal Poly graduate, Mr. Dennis Barsley. Stand up, Dennis. Stay up there. Second person is San Francisco State, most of you know, is Dr. Alan Abraham. Third, our videographer, and he's just a great guy who put all the video stuff together, and that's Mr. Jeff Roberts. Where's Jeff? And last but not least, the guy who was the director of the Hall of Fame prior to me taking it over, and my high school wrestling coach, Mr. Lindike. So moving on here, few thank yous. There are people that helped us put the registration, put all this together, and I couldn't do it without her, of course, is my wife who was in the registration. Yeah, give her a big hand, please. Helping her tonight was Mary Roberts, Jeff's wife, and Tanya Marin helping them, and it's all the people that help us do what we need to do to keep this legacy of California USA wrestling going. And we always tell kids this, but it's more important that you the recipients this evening, receiving these awards, need to say thank you to the people that got you here. You did well as a coach, you got All-Americans, you got state champions, but it's the family that supported you to be able to do that. Officials, people that supported you when you were gone, 3 weekends in a row, refereeing kids that nobody will ever see again, but your family lets you do it, your wife lets you do it, your husband lets you do it. Those are the people that are heroes here. They're the underlying heroes that help us do and carry on this legacy. So give yourself a hand for all the support and all that. So again, I'm gonna close this out. Welcome. Thank you for being here. It's a tribute to what you do. It's a tribute to what you have done. And hopefully we're gonna continue this legacy way past me, way past this people in here, but we're gonna keep this going because it's a wonderful thing, as you can tell. The camaraderie, the laughter, the conversation. The noise level was a little high, but that's okay. So I'm gonna turn it back over to the president of the Wrestling Hall of Fame and the MC for this evening. Me and Anthony work a lot of events together. And we had one 2 weeks ago. What's the words we use, Mr. Morales? Let's load us up and let's get this thing going. Have a good evening, relax, and have a good time.
Thank you, Dwayne. And now I'd like to call forward our former director and great friend, Mr. Lynn Dyke, who will be presenting our Legacy Award.
Thank you, Anthony. I'm going to introduce Mr. Monty Muller tonight, and it's an amazing thing. He rose from the dead because it says in the program, posthumously, and he's here tonight. Monty always seemed to follow me. I met Monty at the old Northern California Wrestling Tournament. I think the first time I recall him refereeing, he had Verduzco versus Mark Girardi in a real tiebreaker. Ended up with a 2-point takedown on the edge of the mat. But we had quite a few comparisons. I officiated the state meet. Monty officiated 22 state tournaments. I was the head official for all the Stockton state meets. Monty was the head official for all the Bakersfield state meets. I was an evaluator for many years, and Monty was an evaluator for 20 years. I retired from the state tournament after 50 years. Monty retired the next year. He's just a big follower. Monty was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2006. He coached wrestling for 10 years at Mira Loma and Mesa Verde here in Sacramento area. He became a school administrator, so he had to give up officiating at the time, the coaching, that is. And he was a school principal for many, many years. He currently is the coordinator of officials for the greater Sacramento area. He assigns all the officials to all sports. He works with Arbiter to be sure that the schools pay their fees, which is a major problem. He makes sure that the officials can receive their payments. It's a very, very demanding job. I could go on and on with this man, but I am extremely pleased to introduce my good friend, and it's a privilege to present the Legacy Award to Mr. Monty Muller. Monty? All right.
Thank you, sir. Do I get a dinner with this? Okay. Well, Dr. Bite, he stole my thunder, some of the things I was going to talk about, but that's okay because he's a great guy. So, thanks for everybody for coming here to the Twilight Zone, Dead Man Walking. That's you've probably never seen that in the past, but it's there now. I'd like to thank Lynn Dyke, Dwayne Morgan, and the Hall of Fame committee members for bestowing this honor on me. As many of you know, Lynn started the California State Meet in 1973, and I was able to talk with him and at that particular place, Hayward, I had two wrestlers there, and one of them placed. He should have placed first, but he listened to his dad instead of his coach, I was going to say. My career has lasted for 55 years, including as a wrestler, coach, that's 10 years, an official, 45 years, and an and an assigner of officials for 20 years. I have 110 states, 110 my brain's going to hell. We have 110 schools, and I have 19 sports. So I'm a pretty busy guy, and I've got one more year, then I'm done. I'm too old. During my tenure, I've encountered many excellent people, outstanding for the sport of wrestling. Lynn, of course, and Dwayne, of course, and several more, including wrestlers, parents, and other coaches. Richard Bailey's name comes to the forefront of wrestlers I have coached. He started wrestling at Sylvan School, I believe it was 7th grade. He became a two-time placer at the California, three-time placer at the California State Meet tournament, and is a two-time NC2A Wrestling All-American. Richard, would you please stand up and let's give him a hand. One of the things I remember about Richard is I could show him a hold, and he would get it with one try and keep it up here and on the mat. So quite a person. Also, I was lucky enough to go to San Francisco State for college, and I had an excellent, fantastic person there as a coach. And that would be Dr. Alan Abraham. And I think he got his doctorate from Columbia. Is that correct, Coach? Please stand up and let everybody say hello. He treated all of his wrestlers with such he was just so good to us that it made, for me, it set up my what I was going to do for a living. My next person is Ralphine Lee. Ralphine, you're back there somewhere. Would you please stand up? She did so much for the Sac Joaquin section north and other states. And I didn't see her. Did she stand up? All right, there, okay. So you've done so much for wrestling, especially in the Sacramento area. In closing, I'm retiring in 2027 as an assigner for the Sac Joaquin section north. I have 17 sports. We need officials for all of those sports. So please see me tonight if you are interested in starting a new career in sports. You learn a lot of new words, maybe that you don't always hear at home. I'd like to thank all of you for your attendance tonight. Go wrestling. Thank you.
You had to stand up on the stage? Stand up on the stage? Armin.
One more. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give one more round of applause. Mr. Monty Miller, our Legacy Award recipient. Once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our silver anniversary award tonight. It is sometimes difficult to believe that the first Hall of Fame induction banquet took place on May 27th of 2000. Since then, the California Wrestling Hall of Fame has inducted numerous, and we're now close, after tonight, we'll be close to 500 individuals, as Mr. Morgan mentioned. This evening is our 25th banquet, and we'll add 27 more individuals into the class of 2026. And for those of you that don't know, here's a little history of the California Wrestling Hall of Fame. We have rotated all across the state of California, which include Laguna Hills, Fresno, San Jose, and here we are back in Sacramento, California for our third return trip. Since day one, Mr. Lynn Dyke, our former California Wrestling Hall of Fame director, has wanted to rotate the banquet throughout the state, as it only makes sense to recognize individuals in the area or nearby in which they live. In this way, their friends and family have a better opportunity to attend the banquet. So Lynn, we thank you very much for your most generous concerns of our inductees. And now we'll begin with our class of 2026 Lifetime Service Awards. This evening is our 20th year that we are recognizing outstanding individuals to receive the Lifetime Service Award. The Hall of Fame board members realized that there were many individuals who have been involved in supporting California high school and collegiate wrestling programs. These individuals have given countless hours of time and effort to improve the stature of amateur wrestling in California as coaches, officials, tournament directors, scorekeepers, announcers, USA wrestling leaders, and leaders in their community. These individuals were not necessarily outstanding wrestlers, coaches of state championship teams, or wrestling officials, but more importantly, they've given countless hours of their time and energy to support our wrestling programs, and they should be recognized. We're recognizing 12 individuals this evening to receive the Lifetime Service Award. Their names will be engraved on a special recognition board, just as our Hall of Fame inductees' names appear. This evening, as I introduce these individuals, I'll ask that they come forward, along with the individual that they have asked to serve as a presenter, to come forward as well. And so you'll be both walking this way up these steps, up to the stage. I might also add that because of the anticipated length of this evening's program, these individuals unfortunately will not be given a speech due to time. And now for our first introduction. That's normally my time's up, so I don't know whose that was, but we'll get to that later as far as time limit. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Award recipient, Mr. Dwayne Brooks. His presenter is his wife, Ms. Rita Jimenez Mateo. And all of you have programs down your table. I will not be reading word for word, but I'll be highlighting some of the important achievements that all these individuals have achieved. Here are just a few achievements of Mr. Brooks. In 2007, Mr. Dwayne Brooks became the head wrestling coach at James E. Knox High School, the newest high school in Modesto. Dwayne was a trailblazer in the Modesto wrestling community, most notably for championing the inclusion of girls wrestling. He not only introduced the sport of E. Knox High, but helped establish the girls wrestling programs throughout the entire Modesto area. Dwayne's most enduring legacy is the success and development of the girls wrestling program. In 2015, NXI Eagles captured the CIF Girls State Wrestling Championship, marking the first CIF title in school history and the first state title in any sport by a Modesto area team in over 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service Award, Mr. Dwayne Brooks, again, his wife, Ms. Rita Jimenez Mateo. Let's give them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Award recipient, Mr. Brian Canelli. His presenters are his teammates, Mr. Jeff Smith, and class of 2016 Hall of Fame inductee, Dr. Marco Sanchez. Brian Canelli was a four-time varsity letterman at Sunnyvale High School. Brian continued his wrestling career at San Jose State University from 1979 to 1984. Brian competed extensively in Greco-Roman wrestling at both the national and international levels. Brian achieved numerous competitive success in Greco-Roman wrestling, placing second at the 1982 Concord Open International, and also finishing second at the National Sports Festival in 1983 and 85. Following his collegiate wrestling career, Brian dedicated himself to coaching and serving as assistant wrestling coach. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service Award to Mr. Brian Canale, again, Jeff Smith and Dr. Marco Sanchez. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Award recipient, Mr. Ed Cryon. His presenter is his son, Sean. Ed began his wrestling journey at Palo Alto High School. After high school, Ed continued his academic and athletic career at Foothill Junior College and later at San Jose State. Ed's coaching career began as a head wrestling coach at Arroyo High School in San Lorenzo. He later took over the wrestling program at Samuel Ayer High School in Milpitas, where he remained until the school closed. When Ayer closed, Ed transferred to Milpitas High School. In addition to coaching, Ed dedicated himself to officiating beginning at the young age of 18 when he served as head official for a varsity dual meet in 1958. Over the decades, he has officiated countless tournaments at the high school, community college, and collegiate levels, including the CIF State Wrestling Tournament and NC2A qualifying tournaments. His involvement in wrestling now spans over 70 years. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame and Lifetime Service Award, Mr. Ed Cryon, his son, Sean. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Award recipient, Mr. Robert Bobby Gonzalez. His presenters are his high school coach, Mr. Ralph Mandel, and his college coach, class of 2001 Hall of Fame inductee, Dr. Alan Abraham. Now, as they're just walking up here, I just found out that the presenter, Ralph, he and I live in the same town, and I just found that out this evening. I was like, what an amazing story we had earlier.
Pray for us.
Bobby Gonzalez attended Gonzalez High School, where he launched an outstanding wrestling career. A 4-year varsity letterman, Bobby became a 2-time league champion, 2-time CCS regional champion, and a CCS finalist in 1979. Bobby went on to wrestle at San Francisco State University and became a 2-time all-conference wrestler. Over the years, he has served as head wrestling coach at several programs. In addition, he has also made a significant impact as an assistant coach at several programs. Bobby's dedication to the sport has always been a family affair. He and his wife's son, Bob Gonzalez Jr., carried on the family legacy by capturing a CIF State Championship title. Their daughters also excelled in the sport. Monica became a 2-time CIF State champion, and Alyssa claimed the CIF State title in 2014. Bobby Gonzalez's influence on California wrestling both on and off the mat is profound. His passion, leadership, and commitment to the sport have left a lasting legacy for future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service Award to Mr. Robert Bobby Gonzalez. Again, Dr. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Award recipient, Mr. Gene Guerrero. His presenter is his brother, Mr. Sebastian Guerrero. And as they walk up here, I understand that Gene Guerrero had actually 43 attend for tonight for him, 43 in attendance. So I think he has set the record. Gene Guerrero began his wrestling career at Corcoran High School, where he became a 3-time Valley Place winner and finished second at 112 pounds at the inaugural CIF State Wrestling Championships in 1973. He began his coaching career at Mount Pleasant High School from 1980 to 1984. In 1990, he joined Independence High School as an assistant coach, where he played a key role in building one of the most dominant programs in California wrestling history. After a brief break from coaching, Gene Guerrero returned to the mat at Merrill West and later at Patterson High School. In closing, he'd like to thank the Guerrero family, whose deep and rich passion for the sport of wrestling has shaped him who he is and grounded this journey. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service Award to Mr. Gene Guerrero, his brother, Sebastian Guerrero. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Award recipient, Mr. Mark Hernandez. His presenter is his college coach and class of 2005 Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Armin Brett. Mark Hernandez began his wrestling career at Watsonville High School. He then went on to wrestle at Cabrillo, and then in 1986 he transferred to California State University Chico, where he qualified for the NCAA Division II National Championships. Mark Hernandez contributed to the revitalization of the wrestling program at Willows High School, serving as a coach. In 1994, Mark began officiating high school wrestling in the North section, dedicating 28 years to the role. He played a significant role in co-founding and reorganizing the Chico Grappling Officials Association. In recognition of his expertise and professionalism, Mr. Hernandez was selected to officiate the Northern Section CIF Masters Tournament on 24 occasions and was chosen 5 times to officiate at the prestigious CIF State Wrestling Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service Award to Mr. Mark Hernandez, again, Mr. Armin Brett. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Service Award recipient, Mr. Court Mitchell. His presenter is his high school coach and class of 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Don Minto. Court Mitchell began his wrestling journey at Corning High School. As a member of Corning's 1984 team, he played a role in capturing the CIF Northern Section Wrestling Masters Championship. After college, he returned to the mat as an assistant coach at Red Bluff High School. And before coming home to Corning High School, Court served as an assistant coach for 17 years and later spent 3 years as a program's head wrestling coach. Over the course of 3 decades, he has helped organize and manage more than 200 tournaments. He has been a leading advocate for expanding the Masters Championship to host both boys and girls tournaments at a single site. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service Award to Mr. Court Mitchell, Mr. Don Minto. Okay, these gentlemen followed instructions. They came up the stage this way and exited that way. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Award recipient, Mr. Albert Perez. His presenters are his high school junior high coaches, class of 2016 Hall of Fame inductee Mr. Jess Barajas and Paul Ashmore. Albert Perez is an accomplished wrestler, coach, and mentor whose impact spans decades. He was a two-time CCS champion. His fifth place finish at the 1979 CIF State Championships at 112 pounds played a key role in Overville High School capturing the CIF State title that year. Albert continued at San Jose State University, was a two-time NCAA qualifier. He claimed the 1983 PCAA title at 126 pounds. As a coach, Independence High School, he's helped develop two state champions and contributed to a CCS team championship in 1988. And returning to his alma mater, Albert led the Royals to back-to-back CCS titles in 1990 and 1991. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service Award to Mr. Albert Perez, Mr. Jess Barajas. Well, Gene Guerrero, I think the Perez family might have 42 members. And speaking of Perez brothers, ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Award recipient, Mr. Arnold Perez. And again, as presenters, all of you, Mr. Jess Barajas and Mr. Paul Ashmore. Arnold Perez is a distinguished wrestler and community leader whose impact spans both athletics and ministry. He was a three-time CCS champion and a three-time CIF state medalist. Arnold was only the fourth wrestler in state history to medal 3 times at the CIF state championships. Following high school, Arnold went on to wrestle at San Jose State University. However, feeling a higher calling on his life, he transitioned into ministry. For more than 30 years, Arnold has served as head pastor at Private Christian Fellowship. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service Award to Mr. Arnold Perez, Mr. Jess Barajas. Gene Guerrero, I don't know, after that, I think you have 44. I think he took the lead. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Award recipient, Mr. Tony Tribuco. His presenter is fellow official, Mr. Tim Eastwood. Tony Trabuco began his wrestling career at Torrance High School, where he was a Southern Section CIF finalist. He continued his wrestling journey at El Camino Community College, where he became a part of a unique group of athletes who earned two-time JC All-American honors in the same calendar year. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, look at your program. Tony transferred to Chico State, where he was a 3-year letterman and capped off his collegiate wrestling career by earning All-American honors at the 1987 NCAA Division II National Championships. Tony's officiating career began in 1990. Over his 35-year officiating career, Tony was honored with numerous selections of high-profile high school and collegiate wrestling events. He officiated a total of 28 section championships. He was also selected 12 times to officiate the prestigious CIF State Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service Award, Mr. Tony Trabuco, Mr. Tim Eastwood. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Award recipient, Mr. Walter Orrick. His presenter is class of 2015 Lifetime Service and former Sacramento City College head coach, Mr. Dave Pacheco.
Good to see you, boys. We gotta go up here.
Walter Ulrich began his wrestling journey at Corning High School, where he had an impressive senior season. He continued his wrestling career at Butte College. Ulrich then transferred to Chico State, where he distinguished himself as a stand-up collegiate wrestler. He was a 2-time NCAA Division II All-American. In 1988, Walter began what would become a 36-year commitment to giving back to the sport. He started his coaching career as an assistant coach at Chico State from 1988 to 1991. In 1995 through 96, he took on a successful tenure at Sacramento City College, where he served as an assistant coach for 28 years. Under his leadership and mentorship, Sac City Wrestling never placed lower than 4th. He has continued his involvement in the sport by assisting the program at Elk Grove High School. He just recently had a 3rd place finish at the CIF State Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service Award to Mr. Walter Orrick, Mr. Dave Pacheco. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting our 2026 Lifetime Service Recognition recipient, the late Mr. Joe Mount. Presenting and accepting on the family's behalf are his grandsons, Mr. Joseph and Jesse Mount. Joe Mount began his wrestling journey in 1936 in New York. He was a runner-up at New York State High School Championships in 1938. He continued his wrestling career at Cornell University. Joe later moved to the West Coast, where he joined the Los Angeles and Inglewood YMCAs, winning the Far Western Championships. Joe's commitment to wrestling extended beyond competition into coaching and officiating. He served as a coach at both the Inglewood and Chula Vista YMCAs. As an official, Joe stood out at the highest levels, earning the prestigious Category 1E, the highest ranking for U.S. wrestling officials. Joe's love for wrestling also influenced the next generation, as his sons went on to excel in the sport at both the high school and collegiate levels. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame Lifetime Service proudly recognizes the late Mr. Joe Mount. At this time, can we have our lifetime service recipients please stand up at this time? All lifetime service recipients, please stand up at this time. Let's give these individuals a round of applause. Thank you. Remember, lifetime service award recipients, please do not leave because we'll take a group photo together at the very end of our Hall of Fame inductees. At this moment, we're going to take just a small, short 5-minute break to use the restroom and come right back. We're going to start in 5 minutes, so make it quick, please.
Let me know if you need help landing them in.
Okay. Say the next 5 minutes.
Loaded. How many knocks do they have? Nice job. Nice speech. Great job. Congrats.
What do you think? 2 more minutes? Make the announcement or do it now?
No, it's 2 more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of them running to the
Yeah.
restroom.
Mr. Moore, you gave me the approval to go ahead and narrow down the lifetime service for recipients as far as our speeches, because obviously we're getting there kind of late.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, oh, I like to hype that.
No, you did a nice job. You definitely very concise and nice job. You can still tell who he was. You know,
Yeah.
Well done.
Well, you know me, I take any feedback, so if I ever mess up on things, let me know. I need improvement. Well.
On it. You're on it. We're the one that's screwing up. We don't know which way to exit.
Kenny, you ready? I'm going to say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Your inside official, Mr. Kenny Goodrow,
So
assisted
are we
by...
speaking here, right?
Yeah.
And then they stand up there?
And then you'll, when you get your award, when you finish speaking, you'll come up. Right there.
You got this, KG. You got this.
Yep. I'm going to even say to you, over on Mountain Number 5, Kenny Goodrow will be your head official.
Versus Lawrence Jackson.
Yep.
How about, we'll get through it. Somehow we manage.
Yep. 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 All right.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we can please have you please find your seats. All guests, please find your assigned seats. Once again, all guests, please return back to your seats. We have the second half to begin here shortly. So again, all guests, please return back to your seats.
It has worked all night. It has worked all night.
Once again, all guests in the back, please find your seats.
Last one.
All guests, please find your seats. Once again, all guests, please find your seats.
TikTok, motherfucker, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't think they're listening.
I'm ready. Actually, I'm going to get on the stage like I did last time.
There you go.
Once again, all guests, please return back to your seats. All guests, please return back to your seats. Let's go back to the second half of our training. All guests, please return back to your seats. All guests, please return back to your seats. All guests, please return back to your seats. All guests. Once again, please return back to your seats. All guests, please find your seat. All guests, please find your seat. Once again, guests, please find your seat as we get ready to start our Hall of Fame inductions. Those of you that are already sitting and someone sitting next to you, please tap them on the shoulder and please tell them to find your seat so they're not blocking your view. Once again, if I could have your attention, please. If I can please have everyone's attention. Please minimize the talking and conversations to begin our Hall of Fame inductions. So please reduce your conversations and direct your attention up to the stage. Okay, welcome back. And now we'd like to recognize our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductees. We'll be honoring 14 individuals this evening as inductees in our class of 2026. Once again, please reduce your conversations at your table. Now, one special note, I will not be introducing our inductees in the order that they appear in the program. I will juggle the order, which will keep the inductees anxious and possibly a bit nervous. So our good friend, Melinda Ripley, please sit back and enjoy the entire evening until later that moment when you get introduced. Now, I want to stress, there is a 5-minute maximum speech. 5 minutes. I will have you on the timer. And we emphasize 5 minutes. Please do not break the Rick McKinney rule, which went on several minutes. And just as we did with the Lifetime Service Awards, a friend, coach, former athlete, teammate, or family member will present the inductee with his or her plaque. We hope that by using a presenter selected by the inductee, it will make the award even more meaningful to the inductee or the representative. So when I introduce the inductee, I will also announce the presenter and ask them both to come forward. And again, inductees, this is a warning. You have 5 minutes. I will also give you a 30-second warning that if you speak past those 5 minutes, I will stand right next to you to make you feel a little uncomfortable to kind of cut it short. So again, 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, the late Melissa Sherwood. Presenting her award, our dearest friend, Mr. Kenny Weary, and accepting the award and speaking on behalf is Mr. Justin Stanley. So can I ask those individuals to please come forward. We've also asked for Grace Magnuson and Tanya Evinger.
Greetings, everybody. I'm here on behalf of my sister. She was a USA wrestler, and about 12 days ago, she lost her battle to cancer. So unfortunately, she had a throat cancer, tongue cancer, and it took her. But she was a tremendous athlete, and we're all here to honor her. She refused to be limited by anything that society at that time would deem this is bad. She was a trailblazer. She was the first female football player at her high school, and then she was the first female wrestler at her high school. They actually told her not to wrestle, and yeah, they told her not to wrestle, and she just didn't go for it. What she did was she put a swim cap on, she got permission slips, and she went out there and just did her best. There's some different records out there, but she still beat about 12 boys in her high school career, and those boys will never live that down. So, yeah, she's just a great person. She'd give you the shirt off her back and the last dime in her pocket. While she was going to junior college here in Northern California called Sierra College, she actually adopted me at 14 years old and got me into wrestling, got me out of Stockton. Didn't know what my future was there. So that was a pretty big thing. And I appreciate that. And she was my guiding light. She was my hero. And I love it. So that being said, I'm so glad that she was a trailblazer and that women's wrestling is what it is today. And it is one of the fastest growing sports, male or female, out there. You guys can read about her accolades in the pamphlets that you have. I don't need to go over all that, but I do thank the Hall of Fame board, and for them just supporting women's wrestling in general. And let's keep it going. Thank you.
And now a few words from her teammates, Grace and Tanya.
I'm not good at public speaking. The red is from y'all. To be honest, y'all are probably like way too young for our generation, but she was a really good wrestler back in the day, and yeah, it's hard to speak on her behalf, but when she called me for this whole event, she was so excited because I guess this is one of the biggest things for a wrestler in California. Anyway, I know it was only like 2 weeks ago, but man, she really like when she told us she got this award, she really was so excited, and it was like an emotional situation. Like I really wanted her to make this celebration because it was so important to her, and it was such a proud like accomplishment. I'm from Missouri. I don't give a shit about California, and yeah, like, and you know what I mean. Like, I think that for her it was an amazing accomplishment, you know, and to be able to make this at like at her the end of the rope was wild, and not being able to see it, it kind of sucks, but bittersweet, you know what I mean? And I don't think any of y'all probably even know she is, but she did an amazing thing with women's wrestling, and she was in it for a long time, and y'all don't know the ride that we went on in women's wrestling and how hard it was to get to where we were and to be recognized. And now, like, what, 3 years, and to be recognized, I don't know how long you guys been doing this Hall of Fame crap, but, you know, to be recognized for a woman in the sport is wild. And it's nice to be here and to represent her, and, you know, to see all y'all that I don't know. Thank you. Thank you. Cheer the crowd.
I care about California. As you guys know, Melissa Sherwood was an amazing wrestler. She was fierce. She was a pioneer. She's paved the way. And back then, we didn't have girls wrestling teams. And when we wrestled in high school, I knew her from freestyle, but she actually wrestled on the men's team at Sierra College, and I wrestled on the men's team at Diablo Valley College. And a lot of people don't know this, but we had a dual meet. And me and Melissa had to wrestle each other. And her men's wrestling team cheered her on. My men's wrestling team cheered me on. It was a magical moment. We also went to Missouri Valley College together. She was the first woman in the United States to get a full ride scholarship for women's wrestling. And I know she was so excited to be here, and when she passed away 2 weeks ago, it just broke my heart that she couldn't be here today and accept this award, but I'm so proud that her brother can be here because she loved her brother so much and was so proud of him. And being friends with her was an amazing journey, and we'll miss her so much, and she'll always hold a special place in our heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted into the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, the late Miss Melissa Sherman. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, Ms. Emily Reinhardt. Representative of your Congress, class of 2018 Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Bob Reinhardt.
Well, Melissa's definitely a tough one to go after, but it is amazing to see how many people have showed up today to honor her. She was a Valley teammate of mine, so just incredible to be able to honor her the way that they have today. First, this is an incredible room to be in front of, quite the honor. It's a strong guess that my speech tonight will be the only one about how pancakes can change your life. But given that we're in a room full of wrestlers, the chances are not zero. Growing up, my dad, the guy behind me, he's the coach of our freestyle club in high school, and every weekend he would take off early to head to the tournaments with our teams, and we would meet up later with my mom. And a random Saturday when I was 5 years old, I asked if I could go early because I wanted to go to breakfast. It was explained to me that the only people who got to go to breakfast early were those who wrestled in the tournament. So without hesitation and pancakes on my mind, I simply replied, "Okay, then I'll wrestle." Confused and a little shocked, my parents agreed. My mom curled my hair. I wore pink Converse high tops, and my dad found the smallest singlet I had ever seen. I won my first tournament that day, and I wrestled for 20 years after. Those were indeed life-changing pancakes. In 1989, at 5 years old, I wasn't signing up to be a pioneer. I didn't know that I was doing something different. I simply just wanted to wrestle and eat pancakes. Wrestling gave me more throughout my life than I could ever fully articulate. Lifelong friends, countless memories, a higher education, a higher pain tolerance, but most importantly, it gave me resilience and it gave me courage. In my pink Converse and curled hair, I didn't know the adversity that would await, what it would mean to be a girl in a male-dominated space. There was name-calling. I saw the looks I got throughout the years, and in one example, a dad cussed out a tournament director because they dared to seed me ahead of his son. Not because I had earned it as a fellow athlete, but because I was some girl. I won the tournament that day. I was seated correctly. Through these and many other moments, wrestling taught me the value of showing up, even through adversity, even when they tell you you don't belong. In December of 1998, my mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. That same week, I made it to the finals of the varsity Doc Peterson tournament. Through adversity, I chose to show up. On March 15th, in 2001, after a 2.5-year battle, my mom lost her fight with cancer. It was a Thursday night. 2 days later, with my dad and brother in my corner, my family in the stands, and my mom's initials on my singlet, I won a state title.
Through unmanageable heartbreak, I chose to show up. When I went on to coach at the college level, women coaching in that space was still new. There were very few of us. It was hard to get your voice heard in coaches' meetings, in recruitment, and in that same male-dominated space. I will never forget leaving a meeting at some college tournament in the Midwest, and I ran into Joan Fulp, who I knew from growing up in California with her daughters. She told me as clear as possible, "Don't you forget that you belong in that room." While my arena may look different now, those words have never left me. It is true what they say, once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy. I was lucky to have representation to look up to when I was growing up. I benefited from Shannon Williams attending Chico State. I'm sure it wasn't always fun having a kid chase you around at all of the local events, but Shannon was my first introduction to women's wrestling on a larger scale. It was the first time I thought, that can be me. Representation matters. I would be doing a disservice if I did not acknowledge and thank California Wrestling. California has led the way for growing women's wrestling. From our own women's division at a tournament in 1994, to selecting 2 women's coaches in Marcy Van Dusen and Julie Gonzalez to lead our inaugural Fargo national team in 2002. California has always led the way, and I am thankful to have grown up here. I will take the courage, work ethic, and grit that wrestling gave me throughout the rest of my life, and for that I am lucky. So as I wrap this up, and I would want to leave a message for my own daughter, or any young girl growing up right now, it would be this: if there is a ceiling, shatter it. If there is a door, break it down. Be loud, take up space. Do not let anyone ever make you feel like you don't belong in the room. Get the pancakes and keep showing up. Thank you to California Wrestling, the Hall of Fame Committee, and congrats to all of my fellow honorees this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, introduce 2026 California Hall of Fame, Miss Emily Reinhardt. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, the late Mr. Brent Noon. Accepting the awards, his wife, Miss Diane Noon. The presenter is Mr. Wally Nakabayashi.
Good evening. This is Diane Noon, Brent Noon's wife. She will be speaking after me. Brent Noon graduated from Fremont High School in Sunnyvale in 1969. Brent Noon was the first 3-time Central Coast Section champion. Brent Noon was the outstanding wrestler as a sophomore of the Central Coast Section champion. The Central Coast Section championships. Brent Noon was a 3-time Northern California champion. Brent Noon never lost a match after his freshman year in high school. His freshman year in high school, he lost 3 matches. To the first placer in Northern California, to the second placer in Northern California, and to the third placer in Northern California. He was that tough. Brent Noon was a Pepsi-Cola High School All-American. He was a California State Junior College All-American, and he took 3rd in the Big 8 Conference Championship for Oklahoma State. Brent Noon went to University of Oklahoma, Cal Poly, Foothill College, and finally Oklahoma State. Brent Noon wrestled in the 1973 NCAA Championships. After graduation from Oklahoma State, Brent Noon went to the West Point Academy for the Army, and he wrestled there and he coached there for 4 years. Brent Noon returned to the West Coast, and he helped Frank Cheek coach at Humboldt State University. From there, Brent Noon went to Oakdale, finished his teaching career, and retired there. I'm going to regress a little bit here and show you actually how tough Brent Noon was. In 1969, as a senior, Brent Noon entered Alan Abraham's Far Western Conference Championships. And he did the open division, so he had to go against collegians, and he wrestled an Olympian that day. He wrestled two national champions that day. The first one was Mike Gallego, Division I champion from Fresno State. Brent lost to him by 1 point. Mike Gallego got off the mat, and I quote, he said, and I quote, "That guy still in high school?" That's how tough Brent was, unquote. His second match, he wrestled a 1964 Olympian, Jim Burke. Jim Burke was the first American ever to place in Greco-Roman in the Olympics. Brent lost to him by 1 point. That is how tough Brent Noon was. With me is Diane Noon, Brent Noon's wife, and she has a few things to say, and she's not a good public speaker like me, but she's gonna try. I would like to say congratulations to all you inductees and honorees. The thousands and thousands and thousands of hours you put in has paid off. Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you to everyone who helped and put on the induction banquet tonight. And thank you to my family who also showed up tonight. My husband of 52 years was Brent Noon Sr. If you knew him, you knew wrestling. You knew how he didn't back down from a challenge. His heart was with the wrestling world. He wrestled in high school and in college, and later went on to coach at West Point, which Wally already said, and wrestled for the Army. He coached wrestling at high school, junior high, and college level. He continued coaching into his 70s. He coached and created a bond for life with many of the students that he worked with. Coaching allowed Brent to connect with others in a unique way. I can't really read all of this, it's just too hard for me. But I would like to express gratitude to the partners, girlfriends, and wives supporting our wrestlers' journey, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted in the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, the late Mr. Brent Noon. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Joe Nagel. His presenter is his son, Joe Jr.
Okay. Thank you, Lynn Dyke. And it's a great honor for me to be up here and, 77 years old. I didn't think I'd make it this long. And thank God for that. So I wandered into, started wrestling at Delano High School. I think the woodshop teacher, wasn't the woodshop, Coach Allen, he was the woodshop teacher. And when I went into the wrestling room, he saw that I had the regular high top sneakers, didn't have the wrestling shoes. So he bought me a pair. And so I thank him. And that got me going. And, I went to Bakersfield Junior College, wrestled for Bruce Spitzenreiter. And I did very well there. I had a few moves. I was upper body wrestler, because I was built like a gorilla. So I wrestled like a gorilla. I just bear hugged you and threw you left or right or over my head, that kind of stuff. So that's how I got into the Greco-Roman wrestling. It's just kind of a natural thing, And then what else can I say to you? Yeah, that you will believe. But anyway, that was very good. I thank my wife, and I advise some, maybe if you have kids that are athletes, to marry a nurse. It's not funny. I mean, she can help. Stops, gotta wake up with headaches. There she is with an aspirin, bloody nose, cotton swab, everything. She's just, don't forget, take your pills, honey. And I go, I did. And she knows I have these memory problems. And I go, I did. And she goes, I'm gonna go check. And I go, I think I did. So, but love you, honey. Thank you. Well, anyway, going back to the wrestling, when we did wrestling camps at Squaw Valley and under Von Hitchcock, we had some people come from all over the nation. They fly down. I'd had me, Ken Boss, John Woods, Rick Arnold, those wrestlers, some of you know them. We used to take the shuttle bus. We had a shuttle bus from Squaw Valley and go down to the airport and pick up these wrestlers and bring them into our wrestling camp. And then later on, when the camps were over, we take them back to the airport. And that was a lot of fun. We had a good time. With the only exception, a lot of times when I was scheduled to take them to South Shore, I had to stop at the casinos. And I lost a few paychecks there. So anyway, that was my gift. Well, anyway, I'd like to thank the Academy for this honor. Again. Well, why are you laughing? That wasn't a joke. I truly mean that, Well, anyway, I am done. Thank you very much. Lynn Dyke used to be a big bop in the chocolate.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted into the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, Mr. Joe Negos. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Lloyd Teasley. Our presenter is his grandson, Mr. David Teasley.
And it's a beautiful crowd also. First of all, I'd like to thank my coaches, Abraham, which is one of my favorite coaches, my best coach, and my best coach I really had was Ashley Sherman. It was really weird about Ashley because we used to be at Landy and we used to wrestle for hours straight. And I don't know how I did that. But there's after doing me a favor because I enjoyed it so much. And people always ask how I really got started wrestling. It was something that was just natural. They asked me what move I used. It was sort of a lateral drop. They asked me how did I do that? I don't know. I really don't know. I was just doing something, and I think the person was pushing me back, and we failed, and I rolled, and there it was. And that's lateral drop, which is famous today. I think it is. Nobody else do it. I never could do it from both sides, but one side was good enough. We won 99% of my matches, especially the hard ones. What else? The other thing is that I think it was wrestling became so easy because they don't know that I was having that much fun. I used to get up every Saturday morning to go to AAU tournaments. If I felt like going, I would go. If I didn't, I didn't. But I always went, and it wasn't hard. It was just easy and fun, and I kept winning. As long as I kept winning, I kept going. And a lot of people wished I never showed up, but I kept showing up. I didn't have a nice uniform. I just had a t-shirt, some regular shorts, and some regular tennis shoes. And everybody else had their little tights on and everything else, but I kept beating them. And they was like, how is he doing that? I just kept winning. And I guess that's what kept me going. So actually they was doing me a favor because it wasn't hard. It was easy. And I actually enjoyed wrestling more than I enjoyed winning. It was just a good fight and a good battle. And in my case, most of the time I won, and when I didn't, I'll say next time, I'll get it. And I did at the very end. They say I was going to last 30 seconds. Is that more than 30 seconds? Anyway, thank you for the crowd. And I really have to thank my coach, Abraham, who brought me back to San Francisco State. He gave me the chance. Thank you, Abraham. And I got to thank Ashley Sherman, who actually really pushed me. Like I say, we actually used to wrestle an hour and a half straight. I don't know how I did it, but we did. All right, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted into the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, Mr. Lloyd Teasley. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, the late Mr. Elmer Pfaffenberger. Accepting the awards is his daughter, Ms. Diane Frank, and the presenters are former wrestlers, John Morelli and Ron Baldwin.
I'm here on my father's behalf, Elmer Pfaffenberger. I would like to thank everyone for honoring my dad, and a special thanks to John Morelli and Ron Baldwin for all the work they put in to get my dad inducted into the Hall of Fame. I want to show you this picture because my dad loved his wrestlers, and in this picture they were inducted into the Woodland Hall of Fame, and both of these gentlemen are in this picture. And he had this on his dresser until the day he passed. He loved his wrestlers. Little history about my dad. My mom always jokes around that my dad was going to go to college for his life because he had a high school counselor who said he would not ever be good enough for college and he should just go get a job. So my dad started at UC Davis for 2 years, then he went to San Jose State, and then he went to Cal Berkeley in the summer, and then he got a full ride scholarship to Stanford for an 11-month course, and all that was before he went into the Army. He went into the Army and traveled overseas, and he mostly spent most of his time in Italy. He was a physical therapist, and then when he got out of the Army, he decided he didn't have enough schooling, so he went back to school, and he was going to go for the rest of his life, but then he met my mom, and then they got married, and he graduated, and he really wanted to get his teaching credential, and he had started wrestling when he was in college, and he loved wrestling so much. They moved to Woodland, and he started the wrestling program in Woodland, and John calls him the father of Northern California. I learned a lot tonight about my dad, because he was just my dad. I didn't know a lot of this stuff because I was young, but he was very instrumental in getting a weight management program started, and he started it at Woodland High, and I guess it's moved to other schools too, or other districts. And he was a father of, he loved wrestling so much, and he was always involved in invitationals and stuff like that. When I was growing up, I just remember it was like, okay, Dad's gonna be gone all weekend. We're like, okay. But he loved his wrestlers, and I remember when I was young, he would come home and he'd go, come here, and he'd make all three of us kids come, and he'd wrestle all three of us. He goes, I want to try a new wrestling move on you. And he'd pin all three of us at the same time, and we're going, okay, we're weak, but he was my dad, and I loved him, and he would be so honored to have this. He absolutely loved wrestling and the wrestling program, and he loved his wrestlers, as you can see by this. Anything else you guys want to say?
Just very quickly, if you were a wrestler in the Sacramento area, Elmer started wrestling in Woodland in the year 1958. And he was one of the founding fathers in this area, along with a gentleman, John Phillips from La Sierra High School, I think is an inductee into the Hall of Fame. The two of them got together with the Sacramento Bee, and they began to put together all of the rankings of all of the teams, all of the individuals in the weight classes in the Superior, California area. And as wrestlers, as we, in those days, we couldn't wait till Thursday, because Thursday is when the Bee had all the rankings coming out, and we wanted to see where we were. And the biggest problem was that, the thing would come out on Thursday, and we just beat the guy Wednesday, and he's ahead of us in the paper the next day. So that became a problem. But he made the sport grow by organizing worked on the Northern California Wrestling Tournament back in the day, worked on sections, subsections. He was a master tournament director, a great man, a great coach, and we miss him. Sorry it took us so long to get him here, but hopefully he's being honored tonight, and hopefully he's looking down, feeling proud about it all. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the committee, and once again to Ron and John for getting him this award. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted in the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, the late Mr. Elmer Daffenberg. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Alex Gonzalez. The presenter is his wife, Maria Gonzalez.
good evening to all you folks that came to this great event. I never thought that I would be here, but Dr. Alan Abraham made it possible for me to be here. And I want to thank all my coaches that brought me to this journey. And I'm very proud for what they did for me. And what I feel that they did was they did something great for themselves, because I was an instrument of their accomplishments because of the way they coached. And wrestling came easy for me because I came from a large family, and it wasn't a time when we didn't wrestle in the living room. And so wrestling came natural. And so once I got on the program, then I was able to create a structure. And once I started accomplishing wins, there was some losses in the beginning, because that's the curve when you're learning a sport. You know, you don't always go out there winning. So during the course of wrestling, you know, I was able to achieve matches, and just one right after another. And so, you know, the coaches that I had were real inspirational, and they helped me along my path. And so it not only did that, it created a structure for me later on in my life. So it created a great opportunity to endure and persevere. So I thanked for this award. And you know, winning is everything, but sometimes it's not. And sometimes we have to lose a match and reflect on it. So when I received notification that I was going to be inducted, it brought back all these memories of wrestling. So, you know, close to 50 years of silence, and then all of a sudden, you know, it became a reality. So the coaches that were involved, they were really helping me along my path. And so I had a great experiences traveling. And I don't know if you read in the brochure, I ended up, while I was in the Air Force, ended up in Palmer, Alaska in 1976. They had a bicentennial tournament. And so I asked my commander if I could participate, and he said, yeah, go ahead and do it. And so when I got to this bicentennial fair, they had 8 mats all the way across, and it was like about 72 degrees. In the background, it was mountains with snow and everything. It was just really picturesque. And so I was able to participate, and as I was going through the tournament, you know, one by one, my opponents, the other wrestlers started to think, well, who is this person? You know, he's just, you know, showed up and he's winning our guys, you know? And so the last match I had, there was standing room. You know, people were all around the whole mat, and they were watching to see who would win against their best opponent there. And most of the people would say, well, he's from the lower 48. And then so I thought to myself, well, you know, that's great, you know, now I'm representing California. So I was happy that I was able to do that. I was representing San Francisco State, and so it was a good experience. And then there's many good experiences you have when you're in athletics. And you know, being a mentor to a lot of younger people helped out. And so here I am today. And there's one last small story that I'm going to say is when I was a young boy, I would, you know, during semester break, I'd visit with my grandmother. And she'd say, "What are you doing? How you been?" And I said, "Well, Grandma, I'm wrestling." And she says, how much money are you making?" And I said, I'm not making very much money. I'm an amateur wrestler, you know. And she used to sit in front of the TV and watch, you know, professional wrestling, you know, and they make money, you know. She said, "Why are you doing it?" I said, "Well, I do it because I like it." And then so just to finish off this conversation is that today is my payday being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted in the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, Mr. Alex Gonzalez. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, the late Mr. Wayne Jones. Accepting the award is Wayne's sister Rochelle. Also like to ask for high school coach Mr. Terry Espinoza to please come forward.
I was told to keep this speech short. You'll never find anybody more qualified to give a short speech than myself. First of all, I'd like to thank the Jones family for asking me to present this award. I was his high school wrestling coach. When I think of Wayne, I think of four things. Number one, smile. Got a bunch of his teammates sitting over there, and I'm sure as I said that, they could see his smile. The guy would light up a room. Next thing I think of is determination. He was a little guy, wrestled 95s and 103s in high school. And he was like a bobcat. People would wrestle him and they'd come off the mat, and sometimes they'd come over to our side of the bench because they were so mixed up. I think of Wayne and I think of faith. Unfortunately, Wayne was afflicted with ALS. And if you know anything about the disease, your body quits on you. Your mind is intact, but your body quits. My wife and I were blessed to be able to spend quite a bit of time with him in the last few months of his life. And he was looking forward to his next step because Wayne knew that he knew that he knew where he was going. I told him, when you get to the last stages, you're not going to be able to read the Bible. I'd like to come up and read it to you. What book would you like me to read? Hallelujah. Amen. Preach it, brother. And he grabbed the whiteboard and he wrote in big letters, Revelation. Whoa. At that time, I hadn't taken a great look at the book, but he made me look at Revelation. That book is full of Jesus. He knew where he was going. And the last thing I think of when I think of Wayne Jones is gone too soon. He was 39 years old when he succumbed. And I know we'll see that smile again because he's waiting for us upstairs.
I want to congratulate all of the inductees tonight. It brings back a lot of memories watching my brother Wayne. Thank you. I was his little sister at every one of those tournaments. I wasn't forced to go. I was told to go. But I wanted to be there. I knew all the points, all the takedowns. I wanted to be what we call mat maids and throw in the towel when the timer went off. I was one of his biggest fans because my other brothers, we always cheered him on. Coach Espinoza, he talks about him as a person. He's a great big brother. He's a great man. He's a great friend. And when I came here, before I came here tonight, I didn't think that I would know anybody in here. My dad is here to see this day with me, along with my husband, and we immediately felt the love from our table, across the room, people that I watched growing up at those tournaments as well. Congratulations to you all. I'm very honored to be here. But again, he's a great person along with great athleticism. He's a champion all around. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted in the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, the late Mr. Wayne Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Mark Loomis. The presenter is his teammate, Mr. Casey Nolan.
Wow, there's a couple people. Good evening, everyone. Standing here tonight feels a little surreal. If you had told me years ago that I'd be inducted into the California Wrestling Hall of Fame, not just for competing, but for coaching, I probably wouldn't have believed you. Like a lot of wrestlers, I was just focused on getting through the next practice, the next match, the next challenge in front of me. Wrestling has a way of humbling you early. Remember the losses more than the wins. The matches where nothing went right, the practices where I felt completely spent, and the moments where I questioned myself. But those are also the moments that kept me coming back. Wrestling taught me how to be uncomfortable, how to fail, and how to keep going anyway. What I didn't realize at the time was that those same lessons would come back around when I stepped into coaching. As an athlete, the focus is on your own performance. As a coach, it's about something bigger. It's about helping someone else believe in themselves sometimes before they're ready. It's about seeing potential, building confidence, and teaching not just technique, but mindset, discipline, and resilience. Coaching has been one of the most meaningful parts of my journey, and honestly, one of the most humbling. You realize pretty quickly that it's not about you anymore. It's about the people you're guiding. To my coaches, Coach DePrado, Charlie Lee, Bill Hickey, Joe C., Larry Morgan, and my judo coach, Phil Porter. There's no way to say this simply, because what you gave me shaped both sides of my journey. You didn't just teach me how to wrestle, you showed me what it meant to lead, to hold accountable, and to care about something bigger than yourself. A lot of how I coach today comes directly from what I learned from you. I'm incredibly grateful for that. To my athletes, Zion King and Juan Gallardo, to name a couple, you've had just as much of an impact on me as I've had on you. You've challenged me to grow, to be better and keep learning. Watching you push through adversity, gain confidence, and find success in your own way, that's been one of the most rewarding parts of all this. To my teammates, specifically Casey Nolan, and to the buddies in the Cal State Bakersfield Van Wars, ask me later. You were family. You helped me shape you helped shape me during some of the most important years of my life, and the lessons we learned together carried into everything that came after. And I have to mention my brothers. Honestly, they're a big reason I'm as tough as I am. Growing up, there were no such thing as an easy day. Whether it was competing with each other, pushing each other, or just not letting anyone slide. They set the tone early. They didn't give me much choice to be resilient. And looking back, that was one of the best things that could have happened to me. A lot of what I carried into the mat started there. And especially to my wife, Felicidad, and my daughter, Caitlin. There aren't enough words to fully thank you. You've been there through it all. The athlete and the coach. You've seen the long hours, the late nights, the stress, and the constant commitment this takes. You both supported me, grounded me, and reminded me what matters most. Coaching especially demands time and energy that often comes from home, and both have given that selflessly. I wouldn't be standing here without both of you, and I'm incredibly grateful to share this moment with you both. Wrestling didn't just shape me, it gave me the opportunity to help shape others, and that's something I don't take lightly. Being recognized here in the state of California, where the level of wrestling is so high, as athletes and as coaches, it's something I'm truly grateful for. Tonight, I'm just really thankful. Thankful for the journey, for the people, and for the chance to be part of something bigger than myself. Lastly, I wouldn't be there where I am without giving glory to God. Thank you for this honor. It truly means a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted in the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, Mr. Mark Loomis. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Cliff Hatch. The presenter is college roommate and class of 2003 Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Larry Morgan.
Okay, I'm going to try to keep this less than 2 minutes, if I can. I have a script. Okay, first of all, thanks to the Hall of Fame. It's an incredible honor to be inducted with all these great wrestlers, coaches, and contributors to the sport. I started wrestling in the 8th grade because I used to fight a lot, and the PE teacher took 2 of the guys, me and my opponent, into the cafeteria with horsehair wrestling mats and made us fight it out there. And when we were done, he said, "You're wrestling next year, Cliff." Well, he said Hatch, because that's my name. But and it took me quite a few years to become pretty good. I was tough, but quite a few years. By my senior year, I was a pretty good wrestler. I'm thankful to be a wrestler. I was fortunate enough for that kind of a start, and then I was a college champion, Division II, and I got to wrestle for the Division I championship where I lost, but at least I got there. The thing I like about wrestling, though, is not so much the titles and the matches. I love the grind, to just get it on every single day. We didn't just practice 5 days a week because we loved it so much. Larry, myself, and many others, we were out there on Saturdays and Sundays. We practiced every day, and a lot of you great wrestlers do that too, I know. Wrestling is a brotherhood. I'm thankful to be part of the brotherhood. If you've ever stepped on a wrestling match, you know what it takes. The discipline, sacrifice. There's so much involved in this sport, and that's why we all love each other. After my competitive career, I did go into coaching and coach high school and junior college. Probably the most rewarding part of the whole thing was being a coach and watching young men grow through the struggles and the lessons that we all as wrestlers go through. I want to thank my family, my friends, my teammates that supported me along the way. Wrestling is an individual sport, but you don't get there by yourself. You need the help. Most importantly, though, for me, I want to thank and give glory and thanks to Jesus Christ. The blessings and opportunities in my life, I know He always had His hand on me. I'm grateful for the path that He set before me and the people that He's placed in my life through this sport. Congratulations to all the inductees. I'm glad to be part of the community of wrestling, and I'm glad to be part of the brotherhood that makes the sport so special. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted in the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, Mr. Cliff Hatch. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Clint Birch. His presenter is fellow coach and current principal of Vacaville High School, Mr. Adam White.
Our crew's kind of rowdy. Thank you to all the members of the Hall of Fame committee for their work and support of wrestling in California. Starting with my family just a little bit, my parents were awesome sports parents in a way I wish more parents were today. My brother kind of introduced me to coaching. My first time I was a head coach was his 13-year-old Pony League baseball team. And I'm not too sure he was going to survive his 19-year-old older brother coaching him, but he did, and I have fond memories of that. My wife, a lot of cliches about coaches' wives when they get up and talk about this, and all those things are true about Kelly. But the real reason I have to thank her is because through all the times when I was absolutely psychotic, when I put the program and the sport above her and the family, she never said no. I got kicked out on the couch. I was in the doghouse a lot, but she never said no. She never said no to the trips. She never said no to any of the off-season work. She never said no to all the weekends when I was coaching from morning to night. She allowed me to have the success that a lot of my peers were not able to get. And I have to thank her. She certainly deserves more than me. Both my children were awesome. When my son Ethan was born, I promised everyone around me that I was not going to be a psychotic wrestling dad. And when he was 5, I was a psychotic wrestling dad. Those next 13 years, though, coaching Ethan made me better. It drove me to be a technician more than I ever was. It drove me to find moves that would help him succeed and in turn made my team better. But mostly it built a bond with Ethan that really can't be taken away. When he was on the mat in a big moment, there are no words describing the way that I feel. And I often told him that his wrestling was the best part of my life. And I meant it every time I said it. My daughter, Riley, she's the smartest person in the house. She knew that there was no possible way to get me to, stop thinking about wrestling. That was until she came home and told me she was going out for the golf team at the high school. Golf has always been a second passion of mine, and her ability to find something that she and I could bond over and have a rapport at an age when most fathers and daughters are growing apart was truly her doing, and I thank her for keeping me sane. The original 4 that came with me on this journey, Rich Petaluna. Rich and I had the privilege of taking over the reins at Vacaville High School after the passing of Dave Nelson. And thank God I did have Rich. At that time, I burned too hot. I wanted to fight every administrator and parent that walked through our door. There's just absolutely no way I would have made it this far without Rich protecting me from myself. Rich also taught me that most important lesson of all, and that is that the program is more important than you. I want to say thank you to Adam White as a co-head coach with me in California and the head coach of our program whenever we went to Minnesota. He was and always has been a great coach, administrator, and friend. In Adam, I found a person who burned to be great, who had goals and direction, a person who perfectly understood who I was and what I was trying to achieve, someone who put up with my deficiencies. He filled those holes, and he became a true friend. Chris Marino took over Willis Jepson Middle School that I was coach at when I moved up to Vaca High, and he is simply the perfect middle school coach. In a time when most programs are trying to find or struggle to keep their middle school program alive, Chris's selflessness and dedication to the program has allowed us to fill lineups decades after decades. He is simply one of the best people that has ever entered my life. Armando Orozco joined our staff in 2007, and we promptly won a CIF state title, which drives home this fact that I need to point out. All the success our program has had over the last 20 years and all the success that has been directed my way, Armando was always there working and building our program. Armando understands the burden of Vacaville wrestling, having wrestled for Larry Nelson and Dave Nelson, and that sometimes it's joyous, but mostly it's overwhelming. Larry left a program for us that is unique, special, and hard to maintain. Armando and I understand the weight of Dave Nelson, what his life and his passing meant to everybody who wrestled for him. This knowledge keeps us together in a way that will never be broken, and I'm thankful to him, what he means to me, and what he means to the program. And real quickly, no less are the thank yous for California USA Wrestling, the opportunities they gave me to lead young men. Dave Pacheco, who has forged the way that I treat athletes more than you'll ever know. To the young coaching staff, Tony, Hudson, Kevin, you've given, it's great pride to see you giving back to the program. Mark Valador, who was my running mate during COVID. We hit 7 states in 10 months. It's never easy being coach and dad. Francis Aquino for all the hours he put in our room. I want to say thank you to my former wrestlers, many who showed up today to my surprise. Our wrestlers always seem to give their best when the blue banners are on the line, and that's all a coach can ask for. Last are the Nelsons. They never talked very much. Keep this short. I miss their guidance, determination, and love of wrestling. Mostly, I miss Larry saying, "Go Dogs," at the end of every practice. I love Vacaville High School, and I appreciate everybody being here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted in the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, Mr. Clint Birch. Okay, everyone, hang tight. We just have 3 more left. Hang tight. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Ken Goodrow. His presenters are his teammates, class of 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Cody Olson, and class of 2023 Lifetime Service, Mr. Fred Ayers. And I must say that as Kenny's walking up here, I really enjoy working with everyone here, most importantly officials, and Kenny, especially because Kenny brings great coffee to the high school and college tournaments, so I appreciate the coffee he brings. And I'm not talking just regular coffee, I'm talking his own homemade coffee.
They wouldn't let me serve it here tonight, but we tried. For those of you who know me, you know that I'm a bit of a procrastinator. Because of that, I asked my son, Toby, to help me write the speech. I should have remembered he takes after me. So this came together this morning. But from the beginning, I knew one thing for certain. I wanted to talk about my family and how much it has shaped my journey through the sport of wrestling. For me, that begins with my own family. My mom, happy birthday. My dad, my brother, and sisters. They were my first team, my first support system, and the foundation that everything else was built on. My dad, who woke up every Saturday morning, put sleeping bags and pillows and blankets in the hatchback so we could sleep on our way to whatever tournament we were headed to that week. My brother, who set an early example through wrestling, giving me something to look up to, something to strive towards. My sisters were always there as well, being supportive and encouraging every step of the way, even carrying a gallon of water at a time to the motorhome to make our trip a little easier. From there, my family began to grow. It expanded with the Sacramento Superstars, the first youth wrestling program in Sacramento. The Superstars played a pivotal role in my early development before high school. Our first coaches, Coach Salazar, Coach Nolan, led by the most important coach of my life, Coach Lee. My teammates, John Loomis, Dave Lee, Todd Gaston, and many more that shaped my life. My family grew again with the Bella Vista High School community. Those years added another layer, coaches, teammates, supporters who reinforced the same values while challenging me to develop further. Bella Vista was more than just a place to compete. It was a place where the sense of family deepened and became more meaningful. The sense of family continued at Columbia, where I had the opportunity to follow in my brother's footsteps. Even in a relatively short chapter, Columbia expanded my perspective and added another group of people who shaped who I became. I spent a short time coaching, and even in that role, my family continued to grow. It gave me the opportunity to contribute, to guide, and to stay connected to the support in a different way. As a coach, none of the refs liked me. My best friend, Cody, even kicked me out of my own JV tournament. So naturally, my next step was obvious. I became a ref. I had to show them all how to do it correctly. Because of this decision, the greatest expansion of my family has come through Reffin. The Reffin community is a unique and lasting part of that growth. It's built on trust, shared responsibility, and the commitment to doing things the right way. Over the years, that family has grown through countless tournaments, long days, and time spent together on and off the mat. The trips, the conversations, the shared experiences have created bonds that go far beyond the matches themselves. From my first mentors, Ron Marquez and Bob Cooley, who guided my early years of officiating, to Cody, who played a strong role, but not too vocally, at least not yet. The community around me always elevated and supported my growth. Cody introduced me to Fred Ayers, who both here are on the stage with me tonight. Additionally, I have friends with Matt and Corey and Mark, Abram, Jimmy, Bob, Brock, Chris, Ben, Tim, and I can name 100 more. As the years flew by, sometimes I felt complacent with my officiating. And then Jake came along. He re-energized me. Thanks to him and Cody, my first national championship became possible. Jake reminded me of why we were here. Thanks, Jake. Wrestling also played a role in expanding my family in a more personal sense. Through refereeing is how I met the mother of my children. And if you don't know, this is Fred. He introduced me to my ex-wife. Kathy, the first woman to ever ref the high school state championships. Who I've managed to stay good friends with, and together we raised Toby and Kale, grounded in the same values this sport teaches: discipline, respect, and resilience. My kids, Toby and Kale, are among the most important parts of my life. They spent countless hours at dual meets and tournaments, growing up on the bleachers, begging to go home, but being supportive in their own way, as wrestling remained an important part of my life. Somehow I could never convince them to wrestle themselves, except for 1 year. I got Toby to wrestle in high school, but then COVID hit, but we at least got 1 year. He wanted me to add that tonight. Standing in front of you here today, it's clear that this idea of family continues to expand. To my fellow honorees, you are now part of this extended family. It is an honor to be recognized alongside each of you. I am deeply grateful to the California Wrestling Hall of Fame Committee for selecting me and recognizing me with this honor. And to everyone here tonight, friends, colleagues, and supporters, thank you for being a part of this ever-growing circle. At every stage, my family has grown larger, stronger, and more meaningful. That started with my parents, brothers, sisters, has expanded over time into something far greater than I could have imagined. The values and lessons I have learned through this community and support have shaped my life in the ways that extend far beyond the mat and made me the person who I am today. So to all of you know me, so to all of you who are sick of hearing my long stories, thank you for today becoming part of my new favorite story and being part of the ever-growing family. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted in the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, Mr. Ken Goodrow. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Nashawn Carey. The presenter, his mother, is Golden Seisman.
Hold on, before we do this. I'm sorry, I had to do that because I know some of you guys are looking at this stage looking like, I once used to be able to do that. And I'm still young, 32 years old, and I'm excited about it. I just want to try one thing real quick. God is good. And all the time. Amen. Great, come on. Amen. It's an incredible honor to be inducted to the California Wrestling Hall of Fame. When I think about wrestling, I think about one thing: the center circle. From the outside, it looks like a lonely place. One person steps in, the whistle blows, and it seems like it's all up to you. But anybody who has ever really lived this sport knows that that's not true. You never walk into the center circle alone. You carry everyone who helped build you, steady you, challenge you, and love you. So tonight, standing here, I know this honor may have my name on it. Does it? But the center circle, my center circle, has always been crowded. In some ways, I think I stepped into my first center circle before I ever even stood on a mat. One of my earliest memories is being a little kid in my grandmother's apartment in Chico, with my dad showing me a wrestling move in that small living room. It was brief, but it stayed with me. Looking back now, I realized wrestling was already becoming more than a sport to me. It was becoming a place where memory, struggle, identity, and love would all meet. And through every part of that journey, I've been carried by people and by faith. That said, I want to thank God. My faith has grounded me both in the highest and hardest moments of my life. Wrestling gave me a place to fight, but God gave me peace, direction, and purpose, especially in that fight. I want to thank my mother, Golden. She gave me so much more than support. She gave us stability, a moral foundation, and a sense of right and wrong. And even though she didn't grow up with that herself, with very little, she gave us something priceless. She prayed for us, fought for us, and built a home shaped by faith, grit, and love. She laid the foundation for my character, my humility, and how I try to carry myself in the world. Mom, you gave me my center. I want to thank Keith and Megan Rollins. Coach Rollins is a Hall of Fame level coach in his own right. But he was far more than a coach to me. He was a father figure, a protector, and a safe place in my life. There weren't many consistent men in my life growing up, but he was one who I was drawn to. He never pushed me away. He was the only man I ever fully trusted. And because of that, I became his shadow. He helped shape me, not just as a wrestler, but as a man. And I'll always carry that with me. And Megan, thank you. Thank you for the sacrifices that you made that allowed coaching and home life to blend to make room for me. Thank you for welcoming me, for sharing your family, and making me feel like I belong there. That meant a great deal to me, and it helped make that part of my life feel like home. I also want to recognize Coach Jordan Matthews. If Keith was heart in my center circle, Matthews was mind. He was huge for my technical development as a wrestler, but also for my composure as a competitor. He had a calmness about him that quieted me. He knew how to be exactly what I needed in big moments. Sometimes I didn't need somebody yelling in my corner. I needed someone who silently trusted me, gave me a small signal, and helped me settle into myself. Matthew's had a gift for that. My wife, Steffi, has believed in me more than I believed in myself at times. And she has always seen something greater in me and has been deeply invested in my fullest potential. That kind of belief changes a person. She has loved me, trusted me, and called me toward a better version of myself. Steffi, I'm humbled to be walking this journey with you. You can clap for her. The Grim Reaper's coming. I also want to acknowledge my Chico High teammates, Efren Rodriguez and Peng Lee. Please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. Thank you for setting a tone and pushing me every day, drilling with these guys who were 3 or 4 weight classes above me made me stronger, sharper, and helped me to be dominant in my own weight class. I'm very thankful to my sister Candy Craddock, who can't be here tonight, but for just being a rock in our family and for setting such a high standard. Seeing her become an All-American in track at Cal Berkeley showed me what was possible. I also want to thank Jeff and Susie Fleming, who also can't be here tonight, along with the many donors and supporters that believed in me and invested in my journey. This sport has given me so much. It's given me discipline, it gave me purpose, and it gave me a place to belong. But more than anything, it gave me people, all of you. So tonight, when I stand in this circle of honor, I do not stand here alone. I stand here with every person who prayed for me, protected me, sharpened me, believed in me, and loved me into the man I became today. Thank you to the California Wrestling Hall of Fame for this honor, and thank you to everyone who stood with me in that center circle.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted in the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, Mr. Nashawn Garrett. And I must say, that speech was very impressive out of all my years. Very impressive. Okay, here we go. And I saved this one for last because I want you to know that when her presenter comes up, you are not seeing double. Here you're going to see an identical twin. So that doesn't mean we had too many soda pops back there. That just means you've seen 2. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee, Ms. Melinda Ripley. Our presenter is her twin sister, Ms. Mariah Jensen.
I gotta move the mic a little, okay? Well, Anthony kind of stole my thunder on the start of my speech, but I'm the last speech of the evening, just so you guys know. So, good evening. I want to begin with the woman who's gonna present my award. Isn't she absolutely beautiful? This was the funny part, because she's my identical twin. But she's also my best friend. Mariah, you've been by my side for every step of life's journey, even before we were born. From my matches to motherhood to coaching, you've never left my corner. Thank you for always being my constant. Thank you to California Wrestling Hall of Fame. Looking at the legends who came before me, I am deeply humbled and honored to stand here tonight. Moments like this make you reflect on where you started, what you've walked through, and who helped you get here. Because I'm not here alone, I'm here because of a village. To my parents, thank you for always showing up and supporting me in my wildest dreams. To my family and friends, you're my reason why. To my fellow inductee, Emily Reinhardt, our friendship started in a small gym at an unofficial state tournament. Since then, we built a lifetime of memories, and I'm grateful to share this moment with you. And really the only reason we were friends is because Emily made me talk to her. She was like, you want to be friends? I was like, no. She's like, yeah, we're friends. I was like, all right, we're friends. And we've been friends since. So thank you, I appreciate you. And tonight, we honor Melissa Sherwood. We recently lost her to cancer. She was a great teammate, a friend, and someone who helped move women's wrestling forward. We carry her legacy with us always. And to the women who came before us, thank you. Now let's talk about wrestling. Imagine a single girl walking into a wrestling room. No welcome, no introduction, just get to work. That was me. I didn't just walk in alone, I walked in without a voice. Early in my career, I learned to stay quiet, to take up less space, to just survive the room. I heard the snickers, the whispers. They didn't think I would last, and I knew why. I clearly didn't fit the mold at the time. But the moment I stepped on the mat, something shifted. I didn't do it because I wanted to be a pioneer. I honestly didn't even know what that meant. I did it because I loved it. And to be honest, wrestling saved my life. I was an angry kid without direction, reckless, lost in searching. Wrestling gave me a purpose, and it taught me resilience, grit, and hard work. Still, I was told to leave, no girls allowed. I heard it from peers and even coaches, but I stayed. I just wanted to wrestle. I was winning, competing in varsity boys tournaments, and that made people very uncomfortable. But I wasn't trying to prove anything. I just simply loved wrestling. Then one day, our team captain handed me a beanie and said, welcome to the team. To most, it was just a beanie. To me, it meant everything. For the first time, I actually belonged. That beanie traveled the world with me. It represented every barrier I had to push through. At the time, I didn't realize I was helping build something bigger. I was just trying to stay in the room. Then came Team USA. In high school, under Coach Casey Ryan, my world opened up. At 15, I was competing internationally. And I had a coach that supported my dreams and pushed me to my potential. Fast forward to adulthood, I was part of the first group of women at the Olympic Training Center. I had front row seats to history. I was living it. I trained under Coach Terry Steiner and Sunkissed Kids. Coach Steiner taught me that representing your country requires more than talent. It requires a standard of excellence. My athletic career consisted of over 10 national titles, international tours, and a lifetime of friendships, both domestic and foreign. The journey is the most unforgettable part of my story, but life humbles you. 2 weeks before the Olympic trials, I was injured. Emergency surgery ended my dream in an instant. That moment taught me the world doesn't stop for your pain, but your resilience defines your path. In 2007, I stepped away from competition, but I didn't leave the sport. I found my true calling in the corner. And honestly, it felt like starting all over again. I faced resistance. I was questioned, dismissed, told I didn't belong once again. But this time I refused to be silent. All 5'1" of me, I know that's really tall, okay, stood firm, not just for me, but for every woman in this sport. I speak us into existence. I stand for equity and equality. Becoming a mother changed everything for me. My voice got louder because my purpose got bigger. I refused to let my daughters grow up feeling like they had to shrink themselves. I realized I didn't need to ask for a seat at the table. I needed to build one. And so I did just that. Today, as women's director for Team California, we've won almost 30 national titles, but more importantly, we've built opportunity. And we do this for her. For her to know that she can be anything. For her to thrive without fear. For her to embrace her own greatness. Thank you to Albany High, CYC, and California USA Wrestling. Mike Duran, who couldn't be here tonight, thank you for 14 years of coaching with me and building this program out. Robbie Smith, and my amazing husband, Jason Griffin. Thank you both for pushing me beyond my limits and never allowing me to say no to my own potential. Jason, there's no one else I'd rather share a corner with than you. As I close, I am grateful, but a rival is not my goal purposes. I don't want applause, I want impact. The woman standing here today is the same girl who once felt voiceless. I use my voice now because I remember what it felt like to have none. The woman I was, I love you. To the woman I am, I'm so proud of you. And to the woman I will be, I am so ready for you. To my kids, thank you. Maddie, I love watching you discover your true calling on stage. The confidence and dedication you bring to every performance is truly inspiring. Kalia, your effort in the classroom and on the softball field and the kindness you show in everyday life is remarkable. Nolan, I am so proud to raise a son who not only excels in athletics, but more importantly, lifts those around him and shows deep respect for others, especially women. I am incredibly proud of the people you are becoming. I am always in your corner. Thank you for sharing your mom with the world. I will continue this journey with pressure, grit, and grace because we are never finished. We are always evolving. And I will continue to represent women on the mat and in the corner. Thank you, California, for this incredible honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, inducted to the 2026 California Wrestling Hall of Fame, Miss Melinda Ripley. Okay, just bear with me for 2 minutes, just please remain in your seats. And now a message from all of our honorees. Speaking on behalf of our Hall of Fame Executive Committee, we'd like to thank you and commend each of our 2026 Hall of Fame inductees, Lifetime Service Award recipients, and our Legacy Award recipient for all the time, effort, and the contribution that they have given during their lifetime to the sport of amateur wrestling. Individuals such as these who were honored this evening is the reason that wrestling, which is the oldest and greatest sport, continues to thrive and prosper in California. At this time, Hall of Fame inductees, will you please stand so we can acknowledge you? All Hall of Fame inductees, please stand. Thank you. I congratulate all of them. I'm much appreciative. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's give them one more round of applause before they leave tonight.